Hi, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seed of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. You're about to see a conversation with friends with my friend Ona. Many of you know her from Ona's Tarot. I think you're really going to enjoy this one. So take care, guys. We both love you and enjoy. All right. Hi, everyone. This is Dr.
Hi.
Victoria Skirbo and Ona and Giblets today. Giblets.
I woke up Jeb. He's kind of groggy, so he can say hello. I'm going to put him back down here.
I'm kind of groggy too, Jibs. Don't feel bad. I like his bow tie. It's very, very sophisticated. He's a very sophisticated boy.
He didn't want to wear anything else today. He says he just wanted to wear his bow tie. So
You got to respect. You have to respect his sense of style. I mean, it could very well be that, yeah, he's not wearing pants, but we could not be wearing pants either.
I was this close.
I
thought I could still keep my pajama because they were clean last night. I can get 24 hours out of these.
Yeah.
And then they have little French bulldogs on them, but a lot of times when I sit for a while, I have to move my legs. And I do this, I'll move and you'll see my pajama pants, my lipstick, mascara, and everything else, right? So I thought I'll put pants on.
So Ona, I met you because you sought me out to do a reading on you, and that. It actually took me a while to realize that you were Ona because I didn't have the name Ona.
Right.
Right.
I knew you knew.
So how are you doing with all of this, hon?
I'm doing well. We were just talking about how coping in this situation is forcing us to be in the now moment and being, we can't worry about what's coming because it's unknown. And if we worry about what's happened in the past, then we just sort of mire in it. And practicing this, just being in the now, has been a challenge over the past year.
Right.
But it's really been interesting. It's been really, documenting everything and putting everything together,
Right.
Everything has led up to this point. Now it's time to share.
Right.
Because I think I've been through a lot of things so that other people don't have to, or that other people can come to if they need to be guided with, cancer or having synesthesia or, weird things that are happening. I want to see people start to open up more.
Right. I think that one of the issues with anything, like those issues or any other issues, is so a lot of times we feel like we're the only people experiencing them. And I think it's important to share our experiences. So people say, oh, wait a minute, I had that experience, or I had this experience. Or sometimes it's just a matter of people not knowing what the next step could be. And if you've already taken that step, right, they'll say, well, Ona did that. Well, let me see. It's kind of, I guess, just, it's examples of being human.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you talk about the present moment, but, that's really the only thing we have anyway. I mean, we think we have a future. And we do to some extent remember the past, but the past doesn't have to dictate the future for sure. The only thing I think that really dictates the future is what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And the thing about this particular moment, on a numerological perspective, being 2020, we're in a 4 vibration. And 4 is the number of crisis, and it's the number of opportunity, and it's the number of building. And so we have the opportunity to build, quite frankly, a new earth. And it starts with sitting with ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And seeing where you are. Like, it's about being a being instead of a doing. And so we're being alone together, which is a weird sort of paradox and dichotomy, you know,
Yeah,
if
it
that's the
is.
right word, I don't know.
It is work, but you know, I've been through this. I've been through when everything got shut down, right? I had a career, I had
Right.
a house and you know, single mom, but still, and then I got cancer and then everything shut down.
Right.
Everything shut down. So I've been when in this place where we are now, where you close the door behind you and everything's changed
Yes.
and
Yes.
you're not going back
Right.
to that. And what has gotten me through that was laughter. I think, you know, we talk about these stages of grief and we forget that there's another one attached to it, and that's laughter. At the end, you've got to find it something funny about it because it can't be this ridiculous.
Right.
You know, there's got to be. I have to find something to laugh about every day, all day long, when all this crazy stuff is going on outside,
Right. Right.
right?
And I can appreciate that sense of having to, is he coming up again?
How do you not laugh at this
Well,
when you
yes.
wake up in the morning?
He's your therapy dog, I say.
You know, it was that. I got him when I started chemo. My daughter was really young, you know, she was 11. So, oh no, she was younger than that. She was like 8 or like 9 or 10, something like that. So I thought, well, if we had this puppy, this joy, this thing to come home to, this thing to look forward to instead of your sick mom would be something that she can grow with during this time. So yeah, he was a therapist. That was my initial thing, was to have like this therapy dog, and it forced me to leave the house,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then, you know, he's kind of a narcissist now.
When is his birthday?
June 21st,
Oh, he's a Cancer, so he's a mama's boy.
first day of summer. Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah,
I had a cat who was a Cancer. I couldn't keep that cat off me. He would suckle on my earlobe like it was a little a nipple, I guess.
yeah. He has to be up against you all the time. I had to put these two chairs, these two dining room chairs together with bungee cords, because when I had him there, I had to keep pausing. He would cry. So I put the chairs here and he fell through, right? So now I tied the legs together so he can't fall through. And he's touching you all the time.
That's so sweet. I love that.
He's warm.
Yes. Yeah. I had my cat sleeping on my chest this morning because I was so cold. I was like, "Here, get up here," you know.
Yeah.
They give
Oh,
us
yeah.
they give us so much, you know. And they said I think I saw it or somebody commented that at least that all the animals are happy because all their people are home.
They're spoiled.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
it's you know.
they have gotten so much worse. And when I go for walks and see other dogs and see neighbors and stuff, they tell me about how their dogs are loving them being home and how their dogs are even more spoiled. I'm like, yeah, we created monsters. They
Yeah.
expect us to be here now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, lucky you, you get to be there now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you were a nurse before everything changed for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I bet you in a way, are you relieved that you don't have to be in the fray right now? Or
No, actually, I feel guilty about it.
yeah,
I feel guilty about it. Why don't you know, I worked in the AIDS epidemic in San Francisco in the early 90s. So I've been in that draining
yes.
environment. I was really young, right? I was like 26 maybe. And I feel guilty that I'm sitting here with a license an active license and not there.
Right.
So I actually am volunteering with the Red Cross with their mental health disaster relief
Oh,
team for the healthcare professionals.
awesome.
So my work is just starting with them.
Yes. Yeah. And I was actually watching something about how traumatizing this whole situation is. And I think we've all been in situations where you just have to be in the moment and you have to do what you have to do, what's in front of you. And then when it's all over, that's when things really sort of fall apart for people.
It's really true. That is when I fell apart. It wasn't during chemo, or it was the year after I finished chemo was when I completely fell apart. Depression, on medications, I completely fell apart. It was after it was over. They're operating at this level right now where they're just working, they're doing things. When they go back and decompress about everything that happened, it's going to be, I'll be there. You
Right.
just, you know what? Ona's going to be on the 800 number. Okay. Call me. I'll help you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that it's, it also reminds us of who really is most important in the grand scheme. I mean, we're all important. We all have our key, but I don't think people realize the sort of responsibility that being in healthcare, and we've both been in healthcare. So
Yeah.
the kind of responsibility and how you really connect with your patients, and you're there to help them, and you want to ease their pain. And when you lose, I remember the first time I lost a patient, by no fault of mine. she I was seeing her for her back, but she ended up passing from congestive heart failure. She was an elderly woman, and she came into my office, and I said, I think you have to go to the hospital. She went to the hospital, and because she was old, they didn't really take care of her, and she ended up passing away. So, it broke my heart. I cried for days. And I can't imagine what these people are going through who are, and then making the decision who lives and dies. I mean, those decisions are having to be made, and it's just.
I think what they're going through is just they're doing their thing. It's very painful, but I think also what they're going to learn is how to connect to family members again. I found when I was a patient that the way the nurses talk to you it wasn't comforting. It wasn't
Right.
warm. They were just sort of checking
Clinical.
off the bullet points. And I think now with all the sorrow, with everything that's going on, they're gonna get that thread back. They're gonna start to feel what it's like to connect to patients again and to connect to family members, because it hurts. It hurts to call family and tell them someone's passed over.
Right.
It's
Especially
not going to get easy.
Yeah, especially in this situation, because people are dying alone, which is so many people's fear is that, oh my God, like we all die alone. Of course, we all die alone, but usually there's somebody there with us. And now, all these people are just, they might be lucky to have a nurse or a doctor standing there when it happens, but they don't have the people that they care about the most. So it's really, you know,
Yeah, it's a shame, but I was a hospice case manager also, and I really don't think anybody dies alone. There's a book called Final Gifts about what people see at that point, when they're imminently dying or getting close, about them seeing angels, trying to get out of bed, trying to go somewhere. because I believe I've seen these things happen, and I think the angels, there are people waiting for them to carry them over. I
Right.
don't think anybody's by themselves.
Right. Right.
But when you have someone in the hospital who's that sick, you feel like, oh my gosh, they're alone. But I don't think they're ever alone.
Right. That's true. That's true. It's like midwives on the other side, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we have people catching babies on this side, they have people catching souls on that side. And so one of the things we talked about just before we got on air, so to speak, I like the lingo, my show, I call it. Oh God, now I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? Oh no, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't put all that stuff in there because then I get distracted with my own story. Oh, I know. More psychic stuff happening. Seeing more things, hearing more things. This sense of the veil being thinner, right? You've had that experience, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Since this is all started, not only have I been getting contacted by a lot of people that have been finding pictures of their dad in their drawers that they're cleaning out. It seems like people are more open to wanting to hear messages from the other side. It's not a struggle. I wouldn't say a struggle, but it seems like they're ready.
Right.
They're ready to hear messages. They're ready to learn more about why these little things are happening to them. And, oh, that song reminds me of somebody else. And I just thought about that the other day. These are all, to me, the thinning of the veil, the way we have to connect to energy that's outside of our physical selves.
Right, right. And I remember after 9/11, actually right before 9/11, I used to watch John Edward. Remember, he used to have his show, right?
Yeah, I like
Crossing
him.
Over, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he had the show, and then 9/11 happened. And I almost feel like his show was opening the door to the possibility for people to connect with their loved ones. And he actually, after 9/11, he actually had a lot of people who were in the towers that ended up connecting with family. And of course, there was a big hoo-ha about that. He was, taking a tragedy and making it. But I think it's true. I think that when these tragedies are about, you maybe, I don't want to make it sound spooky, like when things like that are about to happen, or there's a shift like that, there more doors open, and then the floodgates open. And I really feel as though we're all, for me, when I lost my father, like I've always sort of been psychic, but when you lose somebody you love and they're on the other side, somehow it opens the door a little bit wider to that.
Yeah.
And I think because so many people are passing, and there's so many connections that in fact the doors is being held open. And quite frankly, I don't think the door is going to close. I think it's going to stay open, because I think we have to realize that there are things beyond this. And if we're open to them, then we can manifest them on the side of the veil. And, I think the only thing that really matters is love anyway. And so,
yeah.
No.
And that's what, right? And that's, how do we get people to just meditate on that word, right? How do we, and that's something I learned after, going through all that health crisis stuff, was you don't pass an opportunity to tell somebody you love them, ever. You have to say those, you have to learn how to say the hardest words you've ever said out loud to everyone. It's contagious.
Yes.
And you get it back.
Yeah.
And there's just saying those phenomes in the word helps you heal,
Yeah, it's the
That's why I
vibration.
say I love you. I love you all the time. My daughter and I had this thing where we would say I love you to a stranger every day. And we would like go to the farmer's market and just some random person would like, oh, I love you, thank you, just to practice it
Right.
every single day.
Yeah. That's I think we need, and it's interesting because um on my dailies lately, since the quarantine and all that stuff, I've been saying I love you guys. I
Yeah.
never ever said that before, and I do love you guys, but I
Yeah.
just like didn't come out of my mouth, and then all of a sudden it's coming out of my mouth, and a lot of times in the morning, it's like very early. Sometimes the sun's not up. So and a lot of what I say is sort of off the top of my head, so to speak.
Mhm.
So sometimes I think the spirit just sneaks stuff in on me, and then all of a sudden it becomes part of something that I say. It's pretty
Yeah. Yeah. And it should be part of something we say. It should
yeah.
be part of something we say all the time. So I didn't grow up in a house where that was said at all,
Oh,
ever. Yeah. I had to learn those words.
wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, see, I was lucky. I was surrounded by a lot of love growing up, but I there were parts of me that couldn't internalize it. Um, but I was, and that's something that I'm not sure, like that's another thing. You can say I love you, you can be surrounded by love, but if you don't believe it because you don't believe you're lovable, um, it
Yeah.
it can't get in. I mean, it's still good. It's
Hmm.
still better to say I love you than not. But sometimes we have that block within ourselves where we can't, accept that. And I think it's important to maybe even say I love you to your reflection,
Yeah.
right?
I do.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you're up.
Sometimes I write it in the mirror with lipstick.
Well, you're an artist too, right? You're artsy, yeah. What
I
kind of
write
art
it in
do
the
you?
mirror with lipstick. I love you. Like, so my daughter would has to see it when she
Right,
hears it. Every once in a while, if I find like lipstick that went bad or
right.
was in my car for a couple of years, I write it in. It
Oh,
works.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. So, yeah, you were an artist though. What kind of art do you do? You do like multimedia, is it?
I do multimedia. It's a lot started with paper art and archiving paper. So I started really collecting like Absolute Vodka ads, and I redid this whole cocktail table in these, and it looked really cool. So it sort of started there, and then it became with objects I found or I was interested in. So things I found in a dumpster, garage sale, estate sales, and and do like sculptural work with it.
Are those things on your wall? Are those angels? Did you make those behind?
They are, I don't know if I'd call them angels. The one is, I probably haven't dusted it in a long time. Get it. I made this in Tennessee, and for um, what I'm going to say, I want to also say that I do love my ex-husband in in a way that is
Right,
suitable for our relationship now. Okay,
right.
so when I was living in Tennessee, I had this was a porcelain doll, and I took the head off and I decoupaged the body. So it was a self-portrait of me when I was living in the South. So it's basically, I felt imprisoned,
Yeah, I see that.
and I always had a key, a way out,
Right.
right? And even though I felt like my head was made of glass and shattering, the glass is solid, right?
And beautiful.
It's a solid
Yeah.
doorknob from some building somewhere that
So
I
if I called you a knobhead, you wouldn't be insulted.
I have a bunch of glass doorknobs in a box in my garage. And it has wings and there's timing. So it was just a self-portrait. It didn't start out this way. And I was welding at that time too. So
Oh, that's so awesome. I love it.
that was, it's funny that when the whole cancer, the whole cancer thing started, um, you know, inhaling a lot of these gases when in spot welding or
Right.
soldering, and living in Tennessee where we had to get a radon gas pump to exhaust gas out of our house. My oncologist thought that cancer probably started around that time. And I
Wow.
did too.
Yeah.
So my soldering tools my welding stuff is all packed up.
Oh, yeah.
But I
Well,
do other stuff. And now this is my self-portrait.
I love it. I love
This
it.
is it.
I love your work. I love I love when you read people and the body language stuff and then the smelling stuff. I love that too. So,
I like that crystal that you have in front of you. I can't see it, but it's throwing off some light. That one, you just looked at it.
I did.
Yeah, there's one in front of you there. There's a crystal or something like on a desk or something. No, I can't see it. Let me see that. No?
I have a glass.
There was something that was shining, like a blue flash came out.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe
There was some.
maybe it was a spirit. I don't know. One time I actually did a card reading up here once, and I set it up with the light and stuff, and I had all these orbs like flying out of my mouth and flying through my head and coming out my nose. I'm like, great, they're coming out of my nose.
They do. They do. You know what? This is so funny. If I was standing in line, if I'm in a crowd at any point and I'm sort of tuned in or allow myself to be because I'm bored, I will see like an orb come in from behind and go like a blue one.
Yeah.
And then the person will cough a couple seconds later. And I see, I read them. I'm reading their auras. And it's kind of shouldn't do that. But if I'm bored,
Yeah. Well, you
always,
gotta do something when you're in line, right?
I remember that video where all the orbs were flying around. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool.
I know. I was like, ooh, this is, yeah, this house is very active. It's a very active house. So,
Awesome. I love it. I love that.
so is there anything else you'd like to chit chat about, or anything you want to
I
talk
don't know.
about, or anything come to mind?
I don't know. I'm doing a lot of writing. I emailed my old Reiki master from years and years ago because now everything is changing with energy healing.
Right.
You can't really go there anymore, or, unless maybe somebody's dying and did a lot of transitional Reiki. But how does he feel about online training, online attunement, and stuff like that? I think I want to hear what his opinion is, because the old Reiki bylaws
Right.
are the same.
Right. Right.
Nothing has changed when I read them. So
Right.
I want to do stuff like that with people.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, well, Michael did the Reiki.
Yeah.
Michael did the Reiki. He did the reconnection.
I did that 3 times.
The reconnection? Did you? It was great. It's crazy, right? The energy.
I did, yeah.
I mean, it really feels like it's from a different dimension. That stuff really feels like Reiki never felt like it was from a different dimension to me when I would get Reiki. It felt great. I loved it. It worked every time. But the reconnection stuff was like off the planet kind of stuff. And it opens you up to that, to a certain extent, I think.
maybe that's why it seems like every day has been, I'm writing more and more things that are coming, and it seems like I am seeing more things come by. I did that 3 times because, I have to like really absorb it, like really crystallize it and document what happens each time.
Right.
And
Right.
I love it. I love it. And I want to do something else more than Reiki. I don't
Right.
know what. I don't know what's next.
Right. Right. Well, for Michael, when he did his healing, his receivings, he actually got that through you know, through visions. And then there was a point where he really was seeing a lot of things, and a lot of things were coming in, but they were coming in uh very almost like oh, what do you call the painting, the Picasso, where the nose is on the side of the face and the
Oh,
eyes. That was kind of how it came in, and it took a long time for him to like put it in a way together. It was
yes.
very dimensional. There was a lot of, and he's an artist too, and I find it interesting how art and this healing, kind of goes along in the same line. And so he like wrote this whole like I went into his room. I'm like, "What's this on your door?" He said, "I
Yeah.
don't know. I just saw all this stuff and I just decided to write." And I was like, "Oh boy, great." I didn't understand it, but it eventually coalesced into something, and he's been able to sort of uh,
That's funny that you mentioned that. Now, like I'm starting to get like a little shaky. So since that first one, I want to do a sculpture of Jib in a non-toxic kind of way without soldering or anything,
right, right.
and a metal sculpture. So I start with like what could I mold metal into or wire? And I'm going to show you something that Maya can't stand, but so I'm starting to do the sculpture of giblets.
Oh wow.
Does it look like him?
It does. It
So
does,
it's going to be in metal.
but it's like that Picasso thing. It's like it's him,
When
but
you
it
said that, I'm like, oh my God. After that receiving that we did it just 2 days ago, right?
oh, that was yeah, the receivings, right.
That's what I did that night.
Oh, wow. So you're really connected, I think, to that. Yeah. Wow. I love
I'm
it.
going to do a metal thing of giblets, and then when a light hits it, I want it to be his shadow. So it's going to be a long project, but it'll be interesting.
That's awesome. Awesome. Okay. Michael will be happy to see this conversation.
Yeah, I think you will. I just put that together. When you said the Picasso thing, I'm
Right.
like, I've been drawing this picture of giblets for the past 2 days.
Wow. Hmm. Well, I hope that when we're allowed, that I'm going to come out to Chicago and I'm going to visit you.
You have to. We have to. I know. I feel like
I
I've
have
been there already.
I know, right? I've
Yeah.
never been to Chicago. I've always wanted to go. I always said I would eat a steak and drink bourbon, even though I do eat meat, but I don't really drink bourbon. But I would do it in Chicago, I think, because you should.
Yeah. I hope things don't get too bad. There's pockets that are rough right now. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I grew up in New Jersey, and if I was in New Jersey now, I would be a lot more anxious than I am living in Massachusetts. Because well, first of all, there's more space here between people. We
yeah.
have like an acre of land, so we can always go out
Oh,
in the yard and do stuff. I don't know how people do it without being able to put their feet like on the grass. I just don't know how people are doing it.
I stick my hands in the house plants
Yeah.
because I just have the 2 balconies and I don't have like dirt. So in the winter, but I work at the garden center in the summer and I'm dirty all day long. I'm
Yeah.
constantly in the dirt all day.
It's good. Dirt is good.
It's great.
Well, I cannot wait to see Giblet's sculpture.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. That is so cool. All right, honey. Well, this has really been fun. I hope
Thank
you've
you.
enjoyed it. We can always do it again if if the spirit moves us, and it sounds like spirit's very busy moving us. So
Yeah, yeah. Good, that's good. I am moved, and thank you so much, so much. Love you. You know I love you.
I love you too. And I love giblets and cannoli
Yeah,
and
they're
your
good.
daughter who's sleeping.
She's still sleeping.
Oh, thank God. I wish I was still sleeping. I was up all night with mother.
I don't know, since this turnover, her schedule's kind of gotten flipped around, and I poked her. I said, "Are you a vampire?" Because we crossed paths at night,
Right.
right? 3 in the morning. I'm like, "Honey," and she's like, you know. So
Well, I think that's normal for her age anyway. Because when you're a teenager, you tend to stay up late and stay up late, sleep
yeah,
late, stay up late. You like to have black rooms. And I think what that's about, and I know this is sort of off topic and we were going to say goodbye, but you reach a certain age where you become more psychically aware again. And I think that's why they like the dark, because the light is too much. It's like there's too much light.
yeah.
It's like a natural time to sort of cocoon. And
She absolutely did that. She made, and I have a picture of it next to her bed, she made a fort, and inside the fort, she made a tiny house.
yeah,
Right. So she's in there with her stuff, and I'm like, you need to come out and get some vitamin D
right, right,
and stuff. But it's like the schedule is completely opposite. She's good. She's baseline. This is really hard.
yeah.
This is
It is.
hard. So
I,
we're staying on top of that.
yeah, my nephew. This is his senior year, and there no graduation, no prom, not being able to see his friends. It's really, really difficult. It's really difficult. And that's something that I think not everybody thinks about, but you remember your senior year in high school, you go to the prom, or, you'd be with your friends. This was like the last year you were going to see them before you went off to college or went off to work, and they don't have that. And
No.
it's like they're really losing a big part of what is that called? Like the initiation or those initiatory,
Oh my gosh, that last year in high school,
right?
I can't believe we didn't get kicked out. We had so much fun. Those were such great days. It hurts that they can't
Right,
have that stuff. It's like class of 20 suck. Nothing is good about this for them.
right.
It's
Right.
awful.
And
So,
and this is a group of people who've also had to deal with all the shootings. The only real good thing about this is that nobody's getting shot. But that's not a good, I mean, it's certainly not a good reason. I think the kids today are really under amount pressure that we have no idea. And I think that
no,
we have to be much more understanding of their situations.
we
Um,
try.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know you do. I know you do. And I don't have children, so it's easy for me to say we have to be more sympathetic, because I'm not watching the cell phone fly. Yeah. Although,
Something goes dodging.
although I have to say, I'm a very chill person, but even me, there are times when I'm just losing it all over the place, and it's really hard. And I think we need to be. It's okay, as long as we're not hurting anybody or hurting ourselves. If
Right.
if we lose a few dishes in the process, it's okay.
So it's worth it. Everybody's allowed to lose it. Everybody, I don't think for one second I sit here and sing and dance in the kitchen and everything's wonderful all day long. I have my moments of getting in the ball and crying my eyes out and saying, okay, I've got 10 minutes to do this.
Right.
Get it, get yourself back together and then move on. But I have to release some tears every single day. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's probably also collective stuff that you're releasing as well. It's not just yours. I mean, you
Mhm.
can't be an empath or a psychic or an artist or a healer and not have that stuff, move through your body.
Yeah.
As long as we let it go, we'll be all right. Just
Mhm.
let it flow right through. Yeah. All right, honey. Well, this has been great. It's been great chit-chatting with you, seeing your art.
Thank
We
you.
do. You have to show me more art late and another time.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah, I have some art too, so maybe I'll do a little like walk around the house and show you what I've done. But all right, honey, you take care of
Thank you.
yourself.
Thank
It's been a
you.
real pleasure, and this will probably get up later today.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, hold on one second. All right, guys, I'm gonna sign off, but Ona's gonna stay if I can figure this out. I'm sorry, Ona. This is.